Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Captain's Quarters Show. I am your host, El Milliner, the Captain. Thank you all for hopping aboard with me for another video. In this one, I am covering the story out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, where a middle schooler was kicked out of class for having the Gadsden patch on his backpack. Now, he had several other patches on his backpack, and he was told to remove a few of those as well because they were depictions of so-called assault rifles, right? That really don't exist, but that's what they call them. So they told him to remove this patch, and of course, he didn't want to do it. Okay, he wants to be able to have what he wants on his backpack. Okay, it wasn't anything offensive or disturbing to the class or to learning or whatever. So he should have the right to have this patch. Now, the administrators told him to remove it, and they took him out of class. So apparently, he missed about 3 days of school because of this situation. Okay. Now I have the news story. I'm going to cue that up. And as they speak, I'm going to add a little commentary and ask a few questions that I think need to be asked and answered in regards to this situation. And without further ado, let's play the video. Thanks for joining me.
Colorado Springs mom says her son was sent home from school because of the patches on his bag, including one depicting the Gadsden flag.
Now, that yellow flag depicting a rattlesnake with the words "Don't tread on me" is seen
Don't tread on me
as a symbol of unity by many, but some people view it as a symbol of hate. We're taking a deep dive look at the issue tonight. Lindsay Jensen begins our coverage.
So before they get into that coverage, so a little bit about the Gadsden flag. So it has American Revolutionary depiction, right? So it came about in 1775. So this was an American Revolutionary War symbol of American, freedom, of American strength and rebellion, right? Because we were fighting for independence from Great Britain. And it's they're trying to nowadays, they're trying to point and say, well, the person who created the flag, right? He was a slave owner, et cetera, et cetera. And so they're trying to connect that and say, well, it's the depiction of slavery and racism, right? It's like in today's world and society, all of a sudden everything has racist connotations and meanings and symbolism. Like I swear, it's like the American flag itself is now racist. But anyway, so that's the beginnings of where that came from. Okay, it just represents, it's don't tread on me. It's just, I have inalienable rights. You can't come and tell me I can't have freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to bear arms, et cetera, right? And that's merely all it is. And this school district, this school mishandled this from the beginning, from the jump. They mishandled it. They should have done the research, and then, if need be, you pull him to the side or whatnot and speak to his mother, his father, whoever. But to just pull him out of class and tell him to take that off of his backpack without doing any research was careless at best. But let's get into the news story.
This all started when Jaden Rodriguez, a 7th grader here at Vanguard School, was told he had to remove all of his patches on his backpack or not come back to class.
I was like, this is wild that this is happening. Is this America?
Eden Rodriguez says her son was kicked out of class for patches on his backpack, specifically the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. Why? Check out this video she took talking.
So right off the bat, there's something that I noticed, right, about this mother and son. They don't look like they're, white, right? They look Hispanic. I can't tell you which country they have origins from, but clearly her last name is Rodriguez. His last name is Rodriguez. They are Hispanic. So I think that's something, a part of this that needs to be highlighted, because if they were white, if she was white, he was white, it would be an even bigger situation. But let's keep watching, because it turns out good for him, at least, and for her.
With a school admin.
The reason that they do not want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed is due to its origins with slavery and slave trade.
They didn't want racism on school campus, and I told them that that was very subjective.
That video is gaining momentum on X, formerly Twitter, with more than 5.5 million views.
I do want him to stand up for his rights too, and I don't want to say like, no, you know, bow down to the government. Like, just, it's been tough. It's been a tough call to just let him do what he wants and say he's at that age to make his own decisions.
Yeah, and it's I'm glad she said that it's subjective. It really is subjective, because what is offensive to one person may not be offensive to another person. So if we just say in society, if you do something, say something, wear something that one person out of 1,000 says is offensive, then are you to not wear that or say that anymore because that one out of 1,000 was offended? Is that what we have become? I thought we were, a normal society where the majority kind of rules in making laws and rules and regulations on things, right? Like, you don't look at less than 1% of our population and say, well, we're gonna focus all of our attention on that less than 1% of the population, but exclude the other 99+% of the population. That doesn't make any sense. So in this instance, it's just interesting. And then, do they have a rule against wearing like Black Lives Matter paraphernalia? Like, can they wear BLM on their shirt or on their backpack? Or like, I mean, what is the rule about that? Can they wear anything that says something about Joe Biden? Like some kind of T-shirt that says Biden 24. Like, I mean, I'm wondering, like, is the standard the same across the board, or are they picking and choosing in this situation? Let's keep going.
Vanguard Charter School is part of Harrison School District 2. In a statement, the district said in part, quote, "The patch in question was part of a half a dozen other patches of semi-automatic weapons. The student has removed the semi-automatic patches. The school says it allowed Jaden to return to class and keep his Don't Tread on Me flag patch on his backpack. But Eden says she picked him up from school today with all of his patches. And I met up with them at a grocery store to verify that." So you got all the patches still on there? A lawyer tells me has all of his patches. And I met up with them at a grocery store to verify that. So you got all the patches.
What is wrong with these patches? Like, what is wrong with these? I mean, I just don't see anything on here that is something wrong. I mean, he's got based, like he hand wrote it or whatever, or somebody did. That's pretty cool. Based, J-Rod for VP, Revolution. You got I'm not sure exactly what that means right here, but I mean, just like military stuff, like military symbolism. You got the Don't Tread on Me down here at the bottom. He's got something that says bear arms and something else. So I just don't see
Patch is still on there.
the issue.
A lawyer tells me, as a public charter school, requiring him to remove any patches is a violation of his First Amendment rights.
Students do not leave their First Amendment rights at the schoolhouse door. That's what the U.S. Supreme Court has said. And so that's the test that must.
The U.S. Supreme Court doesn't have to even say that in the first place. It's in the Constitution. It's his constitutional right to have that on his backpack or a shirt or what have you. He's not harming anyone. He's not hurting anyone. I mean, they're not saying anything about him being a troublemaker in school, threatening anyone, nothing like that. It's just merely he wore something that they disagreed with, and so they made a big deal out of it and took him out of school for a few days. It's ridiculous.
It has to be a significant disruption to the educational mission of the school in order for the school to regulate the student's speech. And I'm deeply skeptical that that's true here.
Colorado Governor Jared Polis weighed in on this.
I think it's great when students express themselves in different ways, as long as they're not creating a disruptive environment. Certainly the Gadsden flag is a great iconic American flag. Other kids have LGBT flags on their backpacks. Others have flags of major political parties.
Eden says she's.
Did I just say that? So other kids are wearing political paraphernalia, memorabilia. They've got probably BLM and everything on their backpacks and shirts and socks and everything. Like, and you're singling him out. So, we know what that means. You're probably going to get hit with a lawsuit because you took him out of school because of something that you should have done your research on before you took him out of school. Before you took him to the office, you should have done your research to see, was he breaking a rule, a law, or anything? Crazy.
Proud of her son, standing up for himself. Rodriguez says Jaden missed about 3 days of school over this. She says this is not over and has been in contact with an attorney. In Colorado Springs, I'm Lindsay Jensen.
Awesome. I'm glad that she is going forward with, getting an attorney, getting legal representation, because it's ridiculous. But this is where we are in society, where certain kids, if you're wearing certain items, logos or whatnot, right? Certain terms or such, you're allowed to wear that. But as long as it goes along with the status quo of what's acceptable, right? But as soon as you go outside of that with something like Trump related or a "Don't Tread on Me" patch, or something talking about conservatism or anything like that, you get deemed unacceptable to wear that. Like, it's crazy. It's really crazy. I hope they sue and win and just make that district look as dumb as they look to all of us. You're making this, you're pointing him out to kind of ostracize him in front of the rest of the school over nothing. It's ridiculous, but that's all I wanted to say about it. I thought this was a story that needed to be talked about, and I wanted to highlight it. And thank y'all for watching. If y'all will, leave me a like, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think about this young man wearing this patch in the school's response to that. And do y'all think that they were appropriate? Was he appropriate to wear that to school? Let me know down below. Share the video if you want to. I encourage you to do that. And of course, hit that subscribe. Thank y'all so much for doing it. Takes about a second or two. Thank y'all for riding with the captain for another video. This was the Captain's Quarters Show. I was your host, El Milliner, the captain. Until next time, I am gone.